Hi, this is Barry Walsh, your COVID-19 Math 10 teacher online. Today we're doing currency exchange. We're going to do this using a proportion to solve the questions. Question number 1. Badra's family is going to North Carolina in the U.S. to visit her grandmother. Badra has $125 Canadian for spending money. She is told at the bank that the rate of exchange, $1 Canadian equals decimal 88,625 US dollars. And the question is, how much will she get in US funds? So to set up a proportion, I know you used proportions earlier in the year when you did conversions in chapter 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is write down the information that I'm given for converting. So 1 Canadian dollar, CDA, is equal to decimal 88,625 US dollars. And we have to convert 125 Canadian to US. So in the proportion, Canadian goes with Canadian. So 125 Canadian is going, and the X will represent US funds. And do you remember when you did proportions in chapter 1 that you cross multiply? So the top of the left-hand side is 1, the bottom of the right-hand side is x, so we cross-multiply and get 1x, or x. And then we multiply 125 times 0.88625, and that gives us $110.78 US. And that's all there is to it. So just to go over what I did, I cross-multiplied the 1 by the x, and then the 125 by decimal 88625. So let's do it again in part B. This time, Badra's parents, they have a different rate, so they must have been doing their conversions on a different day. But we still set it up the same way. So it says 1 US dollar is equal to 141077 Canadian. Make sure I have the decimal in the right place. That's very important. And they're changing 1150 Canadian into US. So the 1150 goes with the other Canadian information in the proportion. So 1150 goes here. So we have Canadian dollars with Canadian dollars, and over here US dollars with US dollars. X represents the US dollars. So if we cross multiply this time, we're going to get 1.41077 times X, and that's going to equal 1 times the 1 on top on the left times the 1150 on the bottom on the right of the proportion. That's just going to give us 1150. And what's next? Well, after you cross multiply, you have a simple equation. So we're going to divide both sides by 1.41077. Now over here you get x, or 1x, because these cancel out. And 1150 divided by 1.41077 is $815.16 US. So right now, during and just as the COVID virus started, the Canadian dollar took a big hit because of oil being so important in Canada. So right now is not a really good time to go shopping in the U.S. if you can't go anyway because of the virus, but even if you're doing online shopping in the U.S., you have to be very careful because the Canadian dollar took that big hit. Okay, so when they return home, we're still talking about Badra's family. Her parents have $225 US left and want to convert it to Canadian funds. How much will they get? So yet another quote here. This time, 1 US dollar is equal to 139,014 with the decimal between the 1 and the 3 Canadian dollars. The US dollar is worth more, right? Significantly more right now. And how much do they have left? They have $225. We have to put this in the right place in the proportion. This $225 is US funds. So we have to put that here, 225 US, and then the X will represent Canadian funds. So when we cross multiply, 1 by X is 1X, or just X, and 225 times, 225 times $1.39014, and they will get back $312.78, and that is in Canadian funds. Because they had 225 US left over and they want to convert it to Canadian. So that is the answer to C. Okay, number 2. Ethan is going to Hong Kong for a semester to study international business. He's taking $1,500 Canadian with him. How much did Ethan receive in Hong Kong dollars if $1 Hong Kong is equal to 0.18201 Canadian dollars? So how much is he taking? He's taking $1,500. We have to put this amount with the Canadian quote. So decimal 18201 is Canadian. So underneath that, we're going to put 1,500 Canadian. And over on the Hong Kong side, we'll put X because we're trying to find the number of Hong Kong dollars he will get. Now, if we cross multiply X times decimal 18201, we get decimal 18201X. And cross multiply the other way, 1 times 1,500 is 1,500. And we have to divide by decimal 18201, decimal 18201. And when we divide here, we just get X, or 1X. And we just divide to get our answer. So 1,500 divided by decimal 18201. So he will get, I'm just checking to see if this is the right answer. I believe it is, 8,241 and 31 cents. And this would be in Hong Kong dollars. There we go. Now the second part of B a family member became seriously ill, so Ethan had to come home early. In doing so, he converted 3,210 Hong Kong dollars to Canadian funds. The Canadian bank offered to buy his Hong Kong currency, stating $1 Hong Kong is equal to .17902 Canadian. How much did he receive in Canadian dollars? So we look up here at the 3,210. It's Hong Kong dollars, so it has to go over here, 3,210. So I'm putting Hong Kong dollars with Hong Kong dollars, and we're going to have X here, representing the Canadian money that he's going to get. So cross multiply, 1 times X is 1X, and 3210 times .17902, so we're going to go this way. We're multiplying that way. .17902 times 3210, and that gives us $574.65 Canadian. That seems like the right answer. Yes, I think it is. Oh, this is an interesting question. This next one. So I'm not doing this by proportion because I want to explain to you that one Canadian dollar is equal to $1.42. Whoops, I wrote that backwards. Oh shoot. Okay, it's supposed to be 1 US dollar, sorry folks, equals 142 Canadian. Now, we can also write 1 Canadian dollar is equal to a certain amount of US funds. But where does that come from? Now that's an interesting question. So here's what we do. I'm going to do this with long division. Call me crazy. But I'm going to use long division here. And I'm going to take $1.42, which is the value of 1 US dollar. And so if I take $1.42 and divide it into 1, what I'm actually trying to do is find out how many US dollars are in a Canadian dollar. So this 1 underneath the division sign is going to represent Canadian dollar. So how many times will 142 divide into 1? And that'll tell us the value of the Canadian dollar. So we have to move the decimal here twice. I'll show you how to do this on the calculator in a minute, but I just wanted to show you how this is going to work. So if I move the decimal over twice on the outside, I have to move it twice on the inside. I'm not going to make you do long division, don't get upset. Okay, so 142 doesn't go into 100, it goes 0 times. But 142 does go into 1,000. Now how many times? Now I have to be honest with you, I did this division earlier, so I know this goes 7 times. 7 2s are 14, now I'm going to multiply. 7 times 4 is 28 and 1 is 29. 7 times 1 is 7 and 2 is 9. Now we subtract, and if we subtract 1,000, take away 994, we get 6. Is that right? Yes. And after you subtract, you bring down a 0. How many times does 142 go into 60? Well, it doesn't. It goes 0 times. And then we could go on, but I'm not going to take it any further than 2 decimal places. And then I'm going to show you how to do it on your calculator. So 1 Canadian dollar is equal to 0.70 or 70 cents US. 1 US dollar is worth $1.42 Canadian, and a Canadian dollar is equal to 70 cents US. And that's how you get it. There's always 2 ways to write it. You may have wondered with the questions that I was doing during the last few minutes, sometimes it was expressed in US funds and sometimes it was expressed in Canadian funds. If you don't like the way it's expressed and you'd like to do it the other way, well, this is how you can do it. So all I did is I took 1 and I divided it by 1.42. And I got 70 cents. Now, 70 cents for our purposes, and for foreign exchange traders, they're not going to be dealing with 2 decimal places. They'll deal with 5 decimal places or more. So you can use a 1 and a division sign and 1.42 on your calculator to get that. Or you could do this on your calculator, 1.42 exponent -1. Now, this is the inverse key on your calculator. It actually says x exponent -1. So if you press this, that's what you'll get. So I'm just going to see what I get. 1.42, and then the x to the -1 key, and I get decimal 70423. So if I had taken this long division to 5 decimal places, that's what I would have gotten. 70423. So, yes, that's how you do it. Okay, here we are on page 2. Number 4. In Canada, Sarah can buy a new iPhone 8 for $550. She sees an online ad for the same phone in New York. The price of the phone in New York is $450 US plus $25 US for shipping. The exchange rate is $1 US is equal to $1.3333 Canadian. And what we have to do is take the $450 US and change it to Canadian. So the 450 is going to go with the $1 US and the 450 US dollars with US dollars. And the X is going to be with the Canadian dollars. So what we're going to do is get a price in Canadian dollars for this New York phone and then compare it to the $550. So cross multiply, we get 1x, and 450 times 1.33333. That gives us, if I got the right, oh, you know what I forgot to do? Yes, I forgot to add the shipping. So this should be 475 instead of 450. It pays to pay attention to the numbers. Okay, let's try that again. 475 times 1.33333. That gives us $633.33 Canadian. So this is the New York phone. It sounds cheaper when you say $450, but the US dollar is worth so much more. But after you do the conversion to Canadian dollars, the iPhone that Sarah saw in Canada is actually cheaper, $550 Canadian versus $633.33 Canadian. So she'd be better off buying the phone at home. Okay, number 5. A street vendor in Hong Kong sells you a watch for $125. How much is this in Hong Kong dollars? Okay, so our stated rate is 1 Hong Kong dollar is equal to 0.12846 US dollars. And we put 125 US here. So what may have happened here, who knows, maybe you can pretend to be an American tourist, or the US dollar is the international exchange currency, so sometimes vendors in other countries want US dollars. So we want to know how many Hong Kong dollars, so X goes with Hong Kong dollars. And we cross multiply, so we get 0.12846 X equals 1 times 125 is 125. And now we divide by 0.12846, which gives us X, or 1X, and we divide the other side by the same thing, 12846 decimal in the front. And we get 125 divided by 0.12846, which is $973.07. And that's in Hong Kong dollars. Now, the next part of question 5 says the consumer gave the vendor $150 US. So maybe a $100 bill and a $50 bill. How much change should you get back in Hong Kong dollars? Well, let's just do a quick calculation here. 150 is what you give the vendor in US dollars, and it costs 125 US dollars. So you should get $25 US in change, right? Okay, so we're going to use the same rate because it's on the same day. It's actually within the same minute. So 1 Hong Kong dollar is 0.12846 US. So $25 US would be X. So we're going to get 0.12846X when we cross multiply one way, and then the other way is equals 25. And now divide both sides by 0.12846, 0.12846, and what are we going to get? 25 divided by 0.12846. X equals $194.61 in Hong Kong dollars. That's what you should be getting back. 194.61 Hong Kong dollars. Number 6. A Japanese family is planning a trip to Canada. The family consists of 2 adults and 3 kids. They expect to spend approximately 8,000 Canadian. Well, it's a long way to come, so maybe they're going to spend a long time here and stay in nice hotels. 1 Japanese yen is equal to 0.012134 Canadian. So they want about 8,000 Canadian, so the Canadian dollars, 8,000 goes with the other Canadian quote right above it. So Canadian dollars with Canadian dollars, and the X will go with the Japanese yen, because the question is, how much is this in Japanese yen? How much are they going to have to take to the bank to get 8,000 Canadian? So if we cross multiply, decimal 0.12134x equals 8,000. 8,000 times 1 is 8,000. And we're going to divide both sides by decimal 0.12134. And what are we going to get? 8,000. This is going to be a lot of Japanese yen. Decimal 0.12134. So that is 659,304 approximately. And I know there's a couple of decimal places, but I don't have room for them here. So this is what they're going to need in yen right here. Yeah, 659,304 Japanese yen. Wow. Number 7. Jimmy planned a trip with a friend to Maine to buy a kayak. He had $1,000 Canadian, which he exchanged for US dollars. The exchange rate was $1 US equals $1.36054 Canadian. And how much does he get in US funds? So the $1,000 has to go here with the Canadian funds. And we're trying to find out US funds, so X goes with the US funds. So 136,054X, so we're cross-multiplying X times 1.36054. And with the other cross multiply, 1 times 1,000 is 1,000. And we're going to divide both sides by 1.36054. So how much does he get in US funds? 1,000 divided by 1.36054. Which is $735 even. There it is. Before they left for Maine, Jimmy was given a kayak as a gift for his birthday. Jimmy went to the bank, and the bank bought back the US funds at the same price. So 1 US equals $1.36054 Canadian. And we're going to take his $735 US and we're going to put it with the US dollars. US dollars with US dollars. And we're going to figure out how much Canadian money he's going to get back. So if we cross multiply this time, 1 times X is 1X, or just X. And 735 times 1.36054 is equal to $1,000. Did you know that answer before we figured it out? And now, the problem is, the bank will never give you, if you go back to the bank with a sob story like that, they're not going to give you the same price because they want to make money on the transaction. They might give you $1.34, they might give you $1.32, they might give you $1.30. Let's say they gave you $1.32, you're going to get less than $1,000 back. But that's how the bank makes its money. And the banks are very, very wealthy organizations, as you know. So, I'm just going to take a break for a second. I'm going to get your practice questions. Hang on. Okay, currency practice number 1. These questions are like the ones from last week. They're not really difficult questions, but they take up a lot of space. So I have 2 pages of practice questions. So would you guys please stop the recording and take a picture? As usual, all the answers are here, but they're not in order. So there's currency practice number 1. So get a picture of that. And now, here's currency practice number 2. So get a picture of that one as well. And I have the answers for practice number 2 on the same sheet as the questions. So that's today's lesson. Thank you very much for watching.